Good morning. Thank you all for participating today and coming to be a part of a very kind of brief announcement and take a few questions about what's going on in Tiger Athletics and mostly what's going on with the Big East Conference and the announcement yesterday afternoon, the actual football schedule for 2013. For 2013, the University of Memphis will play 4 home games and 4 away games, and Big East play 8 conference games. Our home opponents next year will be University of Central Florida, University of Cincinnati, Temple University, and Southern Methodist University. And our 4 away games will be University of Louisville, University of South Florida, University of Connecticut, and at the University of Houston. All in all, we'll have 7 home games next year. We open on September 7th with Duke University. It's a very exciting time right now. Coach Fuente has a lot of recruits on the campus this morning and being a part of the game today against Harvard. So it's a good day. The Big East now has started to settle in with 10 members for football in 2013. And that dynamic will continue to be reviewed by Commissioner Oresco, his leadership team, the presidents, and the athletic directors as we move forward in the coming months to continue to build forward with the Big East Conference. Thank you. Questions?
When do you think you'll have the dates
Okay.
for the games?
As is part of the ESPN agreement with the Big East, the ESPN will now sit down with Nick Caparelli, the Senior Associate Commissioner, and work out the dates. And then in mid-February, we'll have the actual dates, the assigned dates, partly because of the TV agreement with the Big East football will remain the same. It has not been altered or changed by the departure of Boise State or San Diego State. So now they'll go through the 40 conference games, matchups, plus the non-conference opportunities, and they'll put together kind of the TV dynamic who will be televised and when.
What can you tell us about San Diego State leaving the conference?
I think San Diego State had an opportunity to look at a lot of opportunities that were available to them. One of them was the fact they could join now for the first time and play their 2 sister CSU schools, one of which I was a part of at San Jose State. So for the first time in many decades, San Jose State, Fresno State, and San Diego State will compete against each other in the sport of football as a conference match. I think that was a compelling reason. I also think that there was an opportunities for them to look at the dynamic of being part of the West and what they were doing. So they were very engaged with us last week when we met in Dallas. They were very measured and sincere in their interest, and I think it was a hard decision for them not to be a part of what we're doing.
Tom, with the revision of the football schedule, it's now been released, it's open, it's out there. I would imagine that, have you guys gotten a confirmation from both Louisville and Rutgers that they will try not to get out of their contracts early to go to their respective new conferences?
We're under the understanding from the meeting we were in that they are there in part of this 2013-14 football season, and in 2014 will make their departure to their respective conferences. So it is an implied understanding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Brown, what was the feeling coming out of Dallas and those meetings to where this conference is right now as you head?
I was very impressed with the Big East leadership, especially Commissioner Mike Oresco and Nick and their staff and what they're doing to kind of solidify what we are. There's an enormous amount of stability financially with this conference because of the reserve funds, because of the exit fees that have already been paid by several departing. So this conference has a lot of financial stability and has a lot of opportunity to build forward in a very good footprint with the 10 comprehensives we have now, moving forward with, the additions and whatever expansion or talks go forward that way. I was very impressed by the determination and the systemic business model that's being put together by the Big East leadership, along with the presidents and along with the athletic director's input. So, in my opinion, it's a very strong and going to be a very formidable conference.
I would imagine you can't share any details with us if the commissioner shared any with you. Is there any sort of information you can pass along about the new TV contract, the progress that's being made?
So the contract currently stays exactly the same with ESPN in football, 2013. In 2013 and 14, obviously there has to be some kind of bridge contract because of the departing or not departing of the 7 non-playing football schools. And then 14, 15, 16 and forward is the new deal. So, Mike's a commissioner who comes from a background in television. He's one of the most respected executives at CBS Sports when he was there. And one of the reasons he was named commissioner is to do this opportunity, and I think he'll do a great job. And I think it'll be a bundled, very creative kind of network dynamic that we can be a part of.
Tom, was the original goal for the upcoming 2013 season to have a Big East championship game, and now that you only have the 10 teams, you cannot, but that you guys would still like to have one starting in 14?
I think that is a discussion that will be probably looked at very seriously in the coming months because we were set to have East and West. There was the red and blue division. There were two sides that would come together and play a championship. Obviously, that's not going to happen this year, but I think it's something that will be definitely revisited by the athletic directors and presidents as a strong, consideration if we continue to add membership.
From your seat, are we still at the beginning, the middle, the end? Can you see light at the end of the tunnel on realignment? Where are we?
Stats, I can see light at the end of the tunnel. I'm having the finality take place now with, Boise State's decision and San Diego State's decision allows us to move forward and build kind of from a very strong, committed base. It also now deals with the changes that will happen with the forthcoming of the 7 non-football playing schools and when they will depart and when that negotiation will start and all those pieces. So those are the pieces that are left. But going forward is the comprehensive membership of this conference. I think it's very good, and I'm very impressed with the quality and level of play that we'll see in 13 and forward. So instability is something that happens in our world. I don't have the answers to what everybody else is doing. Instead, the great social networking of theory, which is what I call it, because it's all theories that get pushed around every day. We don't really know. We don't really know what the future will be. But I believe the Big East Conference is a very good place for University of Memphis to be in right now. And we're going to take full advantage of that and control what we can, which is us, and get us ready to play.
Mr. Bowen, was there ever any options, was there any consideration really given to where is Memphis going to go? Because the Big East is not what we thought it was going to be when we signed up?
No.
We
no.
being U of M.
No. University of Memphis was committed to be a Big East member in 2013 and 14, and membership to that and forward when it agreed in February of 2012. So that's never been discussed.
You have a gut feeling, Mr. Bowen, of what the 7 non-football schools
Well,
are?
actually, I have more than a gut feeling. There's a document called the Mutual Commitment Agreement that was signed by all members of the Big East Conference that basically requires them to stay till June 30th, 2015. So right now, in theory, they can't leave until June 30th, 2015. Now, all that's up for negotiation. Clearly, that's what Pittsburgh, Syracuse, West Virginia did. When you do that, there's a whole other series of bylaws that become in effect. And since I don't have that here to share with you, I think it's something that you could kind of get a sense of what that means. But right now, they are committed to be with us till June 30th, 2015. According to Peter Zern, who's the general counsel for the Big East, and he was very adamant with the presidents and athletic directors that was the agreement.
What was the dynamic like at the meetings? You've got schools that are coming and going, and then as soon as you wrap up the meetings, there's quickly a report that Connecticut, that Cincinnati are looking to jump. Is it a very odd dynamic at this point, would you say?
No, I would say that all that rumor tends to be untrained media. So I'm not sure how that all got pushed around. People have an idea, people have a theory. There's a lot of moving parts with a lot of their conferences. But so I can't really address what happened after our meeting, but I would say that our meeting was very productive. People were very candid, very engaged, and asked a lot of questions, and there was a lot of information shared, which allowed people then to be really discern in what we were doing and what we were going to decide on and how we were going to move forward. And so I think there's a lot of good camaraderie and a lot of respect. I don't sense that people are in the room not being sincere about their membership dynamic of what we're trying to do.
Tom, we know East Carolina, Tulane join next year.
Sure.
And then Navy is still scheduled to join in 15.
Correct.
Was there any discussion about offering any other institutions membership into the Big East? We've heard rumors about Tulsa.
Yeah, I don't know. There was no membership discussion made at that time. I think those are discussions that will take place at some point. But at that meeting I was in Dallas, we were talking more about 2013-14 and how we were going to come together and what we were going to do.
Tom, you said a few months ago that you were going to wait to talk about future football scheduling.
Sure.
Because of Justin and recruiting and things like that. You wanted to make a big splash. Can you give us any more detail on what some of your plans are down the road to add to this football schedule?
Well, we've already kind of, as you know, 13's done, 14's done, 15's done, 16's done. Now we're looking at, 17, 18, 19, 20. There are a lot of institutions interested in being part of what we're doing right now because we're building, so we're seen as an opportunity as opposed to playing us, and I think that's a good thing for us right now. So we'll try to finish out as much as I can into 18, 19, and that'll probably be where we'll stop for a while because it becomes kind of redundant to schedule 2025 in football. right now. I mean, it just doesn't. So 13, 14, 15, and 16 are done. 17 has a couple openings. And those are good things. And we have a lot of people that have come to us, and a lot of my colleagues have called me and talked about, it's important for me to create a non-conference schedule where we get some very good opponents in here to create some energy and excitement, fill the Liberty Bowl, and play our brains out and get a W for our fans. So I think that's kind of where we're heading as far as the scheduling and what I'm trying to do. But haven't you guys seen 14 and 15 yet? We'll push that out in December. I pushed out 13, 14, 15, 16. So it's really 17, 18, 19 that are still unfinished. And then I think I'll stop, at least for a year.
Tom, do you think the conference is as strong today as it was when you agreed to join?
I think the conference is strong, and I think it will continue to build upon the strengths it has currently. I don't know, to compare the strength of before, the strength of after, I'm not comfortable saying yay or nay on that. But I think the conference is very strong right now because of the leadership in it, and they'll build upon that strength that's the current conference. And I think that's all you can expect to go forward with what we're doing.